تو که آتش کدیه شما محبت بودی چه بلا رفت که خاک سرخار شدی تو به سر نغمه زبان بودی و دل ها همه گوش چه شنفتی که زبان بستی و خودگوش شدی خلقم گرچه وفایست ولیکن
Good evening, everybody. Please come. So, good evening, everybody. Hi, Dunya. Hi, Ahmed. How lovely to see you this evening. It's a very lovely and warm evening here in Vienna. Excuse my late arrival today, but I was out and about in meetings, and then I went for dinner. Welcome to our reading of 1001 Nights. My name is Joanna Godwin-Seidl. Good evening, Harry. I am going to start off the reading tonight with a little poem from The Faces of Love. And I am going to be reading a poem. And excuse me while I have to get this out and remind myself of all the information that I wrote down. It's a very, very beautiful book that we got when we did our special reading. It was our anniversary reading, actually, because we've been reading since 2020, March 2020. And we had a special anniversary reading about 4 weeks ago. And we gave some books away. One of the books that we gave away was a selection of poems by Hafez called The Faces of Love and the Poets of Shiraz, and it was translated by Dick Davis. And I just randomly picked out a poem. And this poem is written by Jahan Malek Khatun, who lived around the 1300s in Persia. She was an Injuid princess, and she went by the name of Jahan. She was a contemporary of Hafez, and Jahan means world, actually. So she used to write a lot of love poetry, and you know I love love stories and love poetry. So I'm just going to quickly read this one first because I wanted to, and then we'll carry on with the reading of 1001 Nights. I am still drunk that you are here, and you are mine. And once again I stretch my hand out for that wine. As your drunk eyes could not bestir themselves, I too cannot move. As you love wine, I love the wine that's you. And I will ask the gentle morning breeze to bear a message to my love, who has such musky hair. Since that black hair's sweet scent from being next to me has made me like a musk deer come from Tartary. I fainted when you were not here. I could not stand. But with me now, my love, support me, grasp my hand. So, that was poetry from somewhere in the middle of the 1300s in Persia. And here we are in 2021 reading it now. Isn't that fantastic that these things last for such a long time and we still get the ability to enjoy them? So, and now I'm going to be reading lots of very old stories and very famous stories that we can also still get the ability and the joy of reading. We are on the 446th night of 1001 Nights. We are on volume 5, and we are in the middle of the story of Abu Al-Husn and his slave girl Tawaddud. And if you remember correctly, His father left him lots of money when he died, and palaces and jewels, and unfortunately Abu squandered the lot, only leaving all he had left was his father's favorite slave girl, and that was a young, very, very clever lady called Tawaddud. And she said, sell me to the caliph for no less than 10,000 dinars, I think it was. And although she's worth a lot more than that, and the caliph said, to check her value, he wants to know how intelligent she really, really is, and if she's worth the 10,000 or not. And if she is, then he will give Abu even more money. So he's asked all his wise men along to come and ask her all about the Quran, about history, about all sorts of different, very, very important topics. And we are now in the middle of her being tested about the Quran. So now, when it was the 446th night, Shahrazad said, "It has reached me, O auspicious king, that when the professor of Quranic exegesis questioned the damsel, she continued, as regards the Prophet's name in the book, there be 25, to wit, Adam, Noah, Abraham, Ishmael, Isaac, Jacob, Joseph, Lot, Elisha, Jonah, Salih or Heber, Hud, Shuaib, Jethro, David, Solomon, Zulkafl or Joshua, Idris, Elias, Yahya or John the Baptist, Zacharias, Job, Moses, Aaron, Jesus, and Muhammad. The peace of Allah and his blessing be on them all. Moreover, 9 flying things are mentioned in the Quran, namely the gnat, the bee, the fly, the ant, the hopu, the crow, the locust, the swallow, and the bird of Jesus, on whom be peace, to wit, the bat. Which is the most excellent chapter of the Quran? He asked. That of the cow. Which is the most magnificent verse? That of the throne. It hath 50 words, bearing in each 50 blessings. What sign or verse hath it in it 9 signs or wonders? That in which quoth Allah Almighty, verily, in the creation of the heaven and the earth is the vicissitude of night and day, and in the ship which saileth through the sea laden with what is profitable for mankind, and in the rainwater which God sendeth down from heaven, quickening thereby the dead ground and replenishing the same with all sorts of cattle, and in the change of winds, and in the clouds that are compelled to do service between the heaven and earth, are signs to people of understanding. Which verse is the most just? That in which Allah saith, verily, Allah enjoineth justice and the doing of good, and the giving unto kindred what shall be necessary, and he forbiddeth wickedness and iniquity and oppression. Which is the most greedy? That in which quoth Allah, it is that every man of them greedeth to the enter the garden of delight. Which is the most hopeful? That in which quoth Almighty Allah, say, of my servants who have transgressed against your own souls, despair not of the mercy of Allah, seeing that Allah forgiveth all sins. Aye, gracious, merciful is He. By what school of intonation dost thou read? By that of the people of paradise, to wit, the version of Nafi. And which verse doth Allah make prophets lie? In that wherein He saith, they, the brothers of Joseph, brought his inner garment stained with false blood. In which doth he make unbelievers speak the truth? In that wherein he saith, the Jews say, the Christians are grounded on nothing, and the Christians say, the Jews are grounded on nothing. And yet they both read the scriptures. And so saying, all say sooth. In which doth God speak in his own person? In that in which he saith, I have not created genii and men for any other end than that they should serve me. In which verse do the angels speak? In that which saith, but we celebrate thy praise and extol thy holiness. What sayest thou of the formula, I seek refuge with Allah from Satan the stoned? It is obligatory by commandment of Allah on all before reading the Quran, as appeareth by his saying, when thou readest the Quran, seek refuge with Allah from Satan the stoned. What signifies the word seeking refuge, and what are the variants of the formula? Some say, I take refuge with Allah the all-hearing and all-knowing, and others, with Allah the strong. But the best is that whereof the sublime Quran speaketh, and the traditions perpetuate, and he, whom Allah bless and keep, was used to ejaculate, I speak refuge with Allah from Satan the stoned. And quoth a tradition reported by Nafi on the authority of his adopted father, the apostle of Allah was wont when he rose in the night to pray to say aloud, Allahu Akbar, God is most great with all majesty. Praise be to Allah abundantly. Glory to Allah morn and even be. Then would he say, I seek refuge with Allah from Satan the stoned, and from the delusions of the devils and their evil suggestions. And it is told of Abu Abbas, of whom Allah accept, that he said, the first Gabriel came down to the Prophet with revelation. He taught him the seeking refuge, saying, O Muhammad, say, I seek refuge with Allah all-bearing and all-knowing. Then say, in the name of Allah the compassionating, the compassionate. Read in the name of thy Lord who created man of blood clots. Now, when the Quranist heard her words, he marveled at her expressions, her eloquence, her learning, her excellence, and said, O damsel, what thou sayest of thou verse, in the name of Allah the compassionate and the compassionating, is it one of the verses of the Quran? Yes, it is a verset of the ant, occurring also at the head of the first and between every two following chapters. And there is much of opinion respecting this among the learned. And Shahrazad perceived the dawn of day and ceased saying her permitted say. Now, when it was the 447th night, she said, excuse me a second, I have to unplug this. There we go. Apologies, but if that light is on, I'm plugged in, it flickers the whole time. Now, when it was the 447th night, she said, it has reached me, O auspicious king, that when the damsel had told the professor concerning the difference of opinion among the learned touching the basmala, he said, thou hast replied aright. Now, tell me, why is not the formula written as the head of chapter of immunity? And she answered, when this chapter was revealed from on high for the dissolution of the alliance between the Prophet and the idolaters, he, whom Allah bless and preserve, sent Ali ibn Abi Talib, whose face Allah honour, therewith, and he read the chapter to them, but did not read the Basmalah. What of the excellent of the formula and its blessings? It is told of the Prophet that he said, never is the Basmalah pronounced over aught, but there is blessing in it. And it is reported on authority of him, who Allah bless and preserve, that the Lord of glory swore by his glory that never should the Basmalah be pronounced over a sick person, but he should be healed of his sickness. Moreover, it is said that when Allah created the Empyrean, it was agitated with an exceeding agitation. But he wrote on it, Bismillah, and its agitation subsided. When the formula first descended from heaven to the Prophet, he said, I am safe from 3 things, earthquake and metamorphosis and drowning. And indeed its boons are great and its blessings too many to enumerate. It is told of Allah's apostle that he said, there will be brought on the judgment day a man with whom he shall reckon, and finding no good deed to his account, shall order him to the fire. But the man will cry, O my God, thou hast not dealt justly by me. Then shall Allah, to whom be honour and glory, say, how so? And the man shall answer, O Lord, for thou callest thyself the compassionating, the compassionate, yet wilt thou punish me with the fire? And Allah, magnified be his majesty, shall reply, I did indeed name myself the compassionating, the compassionate. Carry my servant to paradise of my mercy, for I am the most merciful of the mercifuls. What was the origin of the use of the Basmalah? When Allah sent down from heaven the Quran, they wrote, in thy name, O my God. And when Allah revealed the words, say, call upon Allah or call upon the compassionating, what days ye pray, for hath he the most excellent names, they wrote, in the name of Allah, the compassionating, the compassionate. And when he revealed the words, your God is one God, there is no God but he, the compassionating, the compassionate, they wrote, in the name of Allah, the compassionating, the compassionate. Now, when the Quranist heard her reply, he hung down his head and said to himself, this is a marvel of marvels. How hath this slave girl expounded the origins of the Basmalah? But by Allah, needs must I go about with her and haply defeat her. So he asked, did Allah reveal the Quran all at once, or at times manifold? She answered, Gabriel, the faithful, on whom be peace, descended with it from the Lord of worlds upon his prophet Muhammad, prince of the apostles and seal of the prophets, by detached verses, bidding and forbidding, covenanting and comminating, and containing advices and instances in the course of 20 years as occasion called for it. Which chapter was first revealed? According to Ibn Abbas, that entitled congealed blood, and according to Jabir bin Abdillah, that called the covered, which preceded all others. Which verset was the last revealed? That of usury. And it is also said the verse, when there cometh Allah's succour and victory. And Shahrazad perceived the dawn of day and ceased to say her permitted say. Now, when it was the 448th night, she said, "It has reached me, O auspicious king, that when the damsel told the coronist which was the last verse, he said, 'Thou hast replied aright. Now tell me the names of the companions who collected the Quran in the lifetime of the Apostle of Allah.' And she answered, 'They were 4. Ubay ibn Ka'b, Zayd ibn Sabit, Abu Ubaidah, Amir bin Jarrah, and Uthman bin Affan. Allah accepted them one and all.' 'Who are the readers from whom the accepted reading of the Quran is taken?' 'They number 4. Abdallah bin Masud, Ubay bin Ka'b, Maz bin Jabal, and Salim bin Abdullah. What sayest thou of the words of the Most High, that which is sacrificed to stones?' 'The stones are idols, which are set up and worshipped instead of Allah the Most High, and from this we seek refuge with Allah.' 'What sayest thou of the words of the Most High? Thou knowest what is in my soul, and I know not what is in thy soul.' They mean, thou knowest the truth of me, and what is in me, and I know not what is in thee, and the proof of this are his words. Thou art he who wottest the hidden things, and it is said also, thou knowest my essence, but I know not thine essence. What sayest thou of the words of the Most High? O true believers, forbid not yourselves the good things which Allah hath allowed you. My Shaykh, on whom Allah have mercy, told me that the companion Al-Zak related, there was a people of the true believers who said, 'We will dock our members masculine and don sackcloth.' Whereupon this verse was revealed. But Al-Qutadah declareth that it was revealed on account of sundry companions of the Apostle of Allah, namely Ali ibn Abi Talib and Uthman bin Musab, and others who said, 'We will geld ourselves and don haircloth and make us monks.' What sayest thou of the words of the Most Highest? And Allah took Abraham for his friend. The friend of Allah is the needy, the poor, and according to another saying, he is the lover, he who is detached from the world in the love of Allah Almighty, and in whose attachment there is no falling away. Now, when the Quranist saw her pass on in speech with the passage of the clouds, and that she stayed not in reply, he rose to his feet and said, 'I take Allah to witness, O Commander of the Faithful, that this damsel is more learned than I in Quranic exegesis and what pertaineth thereto.' Then said she, 'I will ask thee one question, which if thou answer, it is well. If thou answer not, I will strip thee of thy clothes.' Which verset of the Quran hath in it 23 kafs, which 16 mims, which 140 ayns, and which section lacketh the formula, 'To whom belong glory and glorification and majesty.' The Coranist could not reply. And she said to him, 'Put off thy clothes.' So he doffed them, and she continued, 'O Commander of the Faithful, the verset of the 16 mims is the chapter of Hud, and is the saying of the Most High. It was said, O Noah, go down in peace from us, and blessing upon thee. That of the 23 calves is the verse called of the faith in the chapter of the cow. That of the 140 Eins is the chapter of Al-Araf, where the Lord saith, and Moses chose 70 men of his tribe to attend our appointed time, to each man a pair of eyes. And the lesson, which lacketh the formula, to whom be glory and glorification, is that which comprises the chapters. The hour draweth nigh, and the moon shall be cloven in twain. The compassionate and the event. Thereupon the professor departed in naked confusion. And Shahrazad perceived the dawn of day and ceased saying her permitted say. So I apologize profusely if I said a number of those names incorrectly. I am obviously not of Persian descent, and I gave it my best shot, though. It would take me an awful long time to learn them, and actually what I should be doing is calling a friend. Saman, unfortunately, is not around at the moment, to ask them. I should call Kamyab, actually, and ask him how I should pronounce those names. So if I pronounced anything really, really badly, I do apologize profusely. However, thank you very much for listening in tonight. Tomorrow we will continue with this huge lesson that we're receiving at the moment about the Quran from Tawaddud. It's very, very interesting. And you can see a lot of similarities in some of the names from the Christian faith, the Jewish faith, and the Muslim faith, which is always very, very interesting. I think you will find, I certainly find that very, very interesting. And how much they do cross over. I hope no one's going to be offended if I say that. Anyway, I wish you this evening very, very many blessings. Look after yourself. I'm either going to be back tomorrow or Friday. I don't know. If you want to listen in again, please just check the calendar. It'll probably be a last-minute decision depending on what's happening with my evening tomorrow or Friday. So it's, as I said, yes, it's going to be a last-minute thing. So thank you very, very much for listening in. It was an absolute pleasure reading for you as usual. I look very much forward to the next reading. For those of you who don't know, Saman and I have decided to read the whole book if we can. Saman is busy with other work at the moment, so for the last month I have been taking over the readings and doing them myself. But she'll be back very, very soon. Thank you very much for the likes and the hearts. And please feel free to give feedback. Please feel free to share this with your friends. If you want to help us out a little bit, because we do this as a gratuity. We started in the pandemic. The pandemic is still going on, as we all know, although it has abated somewhat and things seem to be lightening up all around the world, which is a great thing. Restaurants and bars and museums and shops and so on are all open again in Vienna, which is very, very nice. But of course, there are still lots of restrictions all over the place. And theatres are open too, which is even more fantastic for me, because it means I'm also very, very busy with theatre work at the moment, which is really, really great. So, from myself to you, have a beautiful rest of your evening. If your day is just about to start, have a very beautiful day. We will see each other within the next 2 days. Look after yourselves. Blessings again. Thank you very much for listening in. Goodbye, everybody. Take care.